find you kick the can down the road and continue funding this government?
Well, I didn't kick any can down the road. You can't win the game if you're not on the field. And the fact is, it would jeopardize our military readiness at a very dangerous time.
You're asking the wrong person when you ask Mike McCall that question. You really should be asking the Freedom Caucus. They are the ones who have stopped the Republicans from being able to govern. So what they are doing is they're locking in the Democratic policies. They're actually spending more money now than if we'd go to the debt ceiling numbers. So we could put Republican policies in, but they continue to stymie this majority to be able to do anything.
All right, that was House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul answering my question on Sunday Morning Futures, and followed by former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who was with me yesterday on this program. We were talking about the government spending battle. McCarthy attacking the House Freedom Caucus, saying its opposition to all of this spending is hurting the GOP's ability to govern and locking in Democrat spending levels. Ohio Congressman Max Miller is also claiming that the Freedom Caucus is disrupting the GOP agenda. Telling the Washington Times he wants members to lose committee assignments and funding. Well, let's get into it right now. Joining me right now is Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. He is a member of the House Freedom Caucus and the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, what do you want to say for yourself and for your colleagues? They say you are actually responsible for stopping the GOP agenda.
Well, let's keep in mind it was the House Freedom Caucus that led the fight that got us Limit, Save, Grow. And then over the weekend, we were handed the Financial Responsibility Act. And so to say that we're stymieing progress is absurd. We are barreling towards $36 trillion in debt. We've got to have these tough conversations. Nobody said this job was going to be easy, but we've got to fight to rein in spending. And so when you're conceding to the Democrats, when you have leadership that's crafting bills that the Senate will pass versus passing the bills that our republic needs to secure its future, that's a problem. So it's important that we have these fights. It's important that we have these battles. Look, John Quincy Adams loved the House of Representatives. Why? Because it was the people's house. It's where you argued. It's where you debated. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to get a better outcome for the American people.
I understand that, but are you wasting time with all of these fights? Look at all the time wasted as we were betting. Will Kevin McCarthy keep the job? Will he not keep the job? Now you're attacking Mike Johnson. You want to take Mike Johnson down, too?
Well, let's keep in mind, I haven't attacked Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is a friend. I didn't attack Kevin McCarthy either. So to lump everyone into one bucket is absurd. And Kevin McCarthy is a friend, but I disagree with him. The idea that the Freedom Caucus is responsible. Again, it is the Freedom Caucus that has led the fight and been the loudest when it comes to securing our border. It's the Freedom Caucus that's led the fight of we've got to rein in spending. Okay. We have to have these voices in Congress. That's why I ran, and that's why I'll keep fighting.
Well, fair point, Congressman Ogles. Look, Senate negotiators are working to win support for this bipartisan border deal. It's supposed to unlock aid for Ukraine. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the deal is not complete. He's calling out lawmakers who are already opposing it. I want to know where you stand. Watch this.
All of us on the Democratic side are serious about getting something done. Sadly, it's clear there are some in this Congress and beyond who wish to prevent bipartisan action on the border and on our national security challenges. Whether they're blinded by naked partisanship or cowed by political pressure, these minority voices are cynically working to stymie bipartisan cooperation.
Congressman, your reaction.
Well, again, it's absolutely absurd. Under President Trump, we didn't have this crisis at the southern border. Under Obama, we didn't have this crisis at the southern border, but we have it under Biden. This is a willful invasion that's being allowed by the administration. We don't need new laws to secure the border. We need to let Greg Abbott do his job, which is to put up the razor wire. I stand with Texas. We've got to secure this border. And the fact that Schumer is advocating for a bipartisan deal should scare the crap out of you, because it's going to be just that. And so they're trying to wrap. They've created a crisis, and now they're offering a solution. No thanks. All this is closet amnesty.
So do you think that you're actually going to be able to move the needle on border security? Look, let's be clear. This president claims he's been at the border. He went to the border a year ago. We all remember what actually took place when he went. He drove around in the Beast, that car that he's in, and he drove around in El Paso, not actually seeing what's taking place on the border. But having said that, you've got a border czar. Do you actually think you're going to break this logjam?
Well, we've got to fight. If I had to make a projection, I would say that this current deal is dead on arrival in the House. But we'll see. I think what we need to do is enforce the laws we have already in place, put up the razor wire, shut down the border. That fixes a lot of the problem. Then you have to have the conversation of what do we do with all of these people that are already here? And that is going to be a crisis in and to itself. I mean, you've got communities that are literally overrun by the sheer numbers of people who have illegally entered this country. In Tennessee alone, the cost of illegal immigration cost us about $1 billion, almost $1 billion a year. That's not sustainable for any state. It's not sustainable for Tennessee.
So Florida Senator Marco Rubio writes this on X. How can there be a border security deal with a Biden administration that just went all the way to the Supreme Court to stop border security? Of course, Rubio is referencing what you just referenced. The Supreme Court's decision has ruled in favor of the Biden administration, allowing them to start removing the razor wire that Texas put up to stop illegal border crossings, Congressman. So you just said you think Texas should be able to put this wire up. Well, guess what? The Supreme Court just said not so fast.
Well, that is unfortunate. I haven't read the decisions and why they came to that conclusion. But look, I think Greg Abbott this morning should get up with the dedication, determination to put up more razor wire. And you know what? I'll volunteer to go down there and help him. He has a right to secure his state. He has a right to secure his people and prevent this invasion, because ultimately it's the people of Texas and America that are paying for this. And the Biden administration is wrong, and the Supreme Court got it wrong.
All right, Congressman, we're going to keep watching all of this. I don't think he's got any more room for this. The Supreme Court ruled, right? It's over.
Well, I mean, he said, Paxton said they'll keep fighting. I think they should continue to fight. And look, this is a crisis that is being created by the Biden administration. They have a right to fight back, and they should. And it really concerns me that the Supreme Court ruled the way they did. And I think this should bother any state and any advocate for our states' rights.
Congressman, thank you. Andy Ogles joining us this morning. We appreciate your time, sir.